Have you ever woken up and not known who you are outside of your job? If your work disappeared tomorrow, would you still exist? If that question frightens you, this video is for you. Watch to the end. You'll understand why the most successful men are often the closest to breaking. Series 4, Burnout, Episode 3. Burnout in Men, when work is all you are and you're never enough. There is a question that few men ask themselves, and that almost none say out loud. If I stopped going to work tomorrow, who would I be? Alex is 43 years old, a sales director. He has built a team of 30 people, exceeded his targets for 7 consecutive years. The car, the flat, the holidays, everything speaks of a man who has made it. And yet, one Friday morning, making his coffee, he suddenly realized he had no idea what made him happy outside of the numbers in a report. He didn't know what music he truly loved. He didn't know what would make him laugh without reason. He didn't know, and this frightened him more than any negative figure, who he was beyond the job title on his business card. Burnout in men is not just exhaustion. It is something deeper and harder to look at directly. It is the loss of self behind the role. Today we talk about that, imposter syndrome. There is a toxic combination we see frequently in men with burnout, and one that is rarely named. It is called imposter syndrome. It is the conviction that your success is not real, that you were lucky, that others are better than you, and that one day, perhaps tomorrow, perhaps at the next meeting, someone will notice that you are not as much as you appear to be. And to prevent that moment, you work harder. You are first in and last to leave. You answer emails at midnight. You delegate nothing important because if someone else makes a mistake, it shows I'm not in control. Ancient wisdom captures this tension with striking precision. What can be worse than the honest and upright man turned imposter? This is the painful paradox of imposter syndrome. The man is not an imposter, but he performs as though he were, and in that continuous performance, he burns out. The greater the external success, the greater the internal fear. The loop tightens. And burnout arrives precisely where no one expected to find it. In the man who appears to have everything. Robert is 48 years old, an architect with his own practice. Award-winning, respected, published in professional journals. He came to therapy after losing a major project to a younger competitor. I don't understand, he told his therapist in the first session. I worked harder than ever. I put everything I had into that project, and it still wasn't enough. His therapist asked, "When you said you put everything you had, what did you mean?" Robert was quiet. "Work," he said eventually. "And outside of work, what do you have?" Another silence. Long, uncomfortable. "I don't know," said Robert. "I think I have nothing outside of work." Erich Fromm wrote that modern man has confused being with doing, that he has come to define himself by what he produces, not by who he is, and that when production stops or fails, the man feels that he himself has stopped, that he himself has failed. Robert hadn't lost a project. He had lost, or so he believed, himself. And this confusion between doing and being is the deepest root of male burnout. Who are you beyond your work? Ancient wisdom offers something that sounds like a paradox and is a profound truth. One who knows others is wise. One who knows himself is enlightened. Burnout forces a man to know himself, not by choice, by necessity, through collapse. And in that collapse, if there is someone alongside to help and the courage to look, things are found that success had been covering for years. Alex discovered in therapy that he loved photography, that he had owned a camera at 20 and abandoned it when he began climbing the corporate ladder. Robert rediscovered that he loved to cook, that he had spent hours in the kitchen with his grandmother, and that those hours had been perhaps the happiest of his life. Not grand things, not dramatic revelations, but pieces of a self that had been waiting patiently beneath the layers of presentations and targets and emails. And ancient wisdom adds, one who is content with himself is rich. That richness of knowing yourself, accepting yourself, being present in your own life is precisely what burnout steals, and precisely what recovery gives back. Alex bought a camera. Saturday mornings, before the family wakes, he goes out for an hour to photograph the city. For no one, for no project, just for himself. Robert cooks on Sundays. He rediscovered his grandmother's recipe for a dish he hadn't made in 20 years. His children sit at the table and talk, not at the television, not at their phones, with him. No architecture project has ever given him what that Sunday hour gives him. At his last therapy session, Robert said something his therapist didn't forget. I realized that my whole life I have been building houses for other people. Now I am learning to build one for myself. If you are a man and you recognize yourself in Alex or Robert, like this video and help someone else find it. You don't have to lose everything to find yourself, but sometimes you have to stop. Subscribe to the channel. Every week, we talk about things that genuinely matter, about you and the people around you. Tell us in the comments. Do you know who you are outside of your work? We're here. See you in episode 4.